restlessness, which is called the rajas, which is very attribute of rajas. Or we get caught in the intellect, missing the ultimate truth and wisdom, or we get wealth. We run behind the ultimate purpose of human life, or we think that knowledge we keep seeking more and more intellect, not the ultimate bliss. That is exactly what the Supreme Paramashiva manifested as Lingodbhava and again going to manifest today as Lingodbhava. He is telling us, teaching us, making us experience that neither intellect nor wealth can give us the ultimate experience. Intellect and comfort, yes, both of them are just utility value in life. Well, yes, it is needed for a certain level, but it is not life itself. Life is something to be intensely lived, loved, experienced, and it is beyond logic and currency. So when we look into your life, I really want all of our viewers who are watching this today, when we are looking into our lives and understanding about, okay, what are we running behind? So before we move on to that, I just want each of us to maybe take a few minutes and come back to YouTube and share. What do you think you are running behind in your life? What do you value the most? Right? Let us look back and ask ourselves, what do I value the most? There is no right or wrong answer here. But when we look in, are we going behind? I think, okay, knowledge, I have to study more and more, or I don't have that knowledge, whether I have it or I don't have it. That is what we are looking at. Or when we are looking at money. Oh, if I have money, all my problems will be solved. If I have more and more wealth, I'll have, all my problems will be solved. So what are we really looking at in our life? What are we running behind? What are we seeking in our life? I request all of viewers who are watching us on Nityananda TV or on YouTube Live, Facebook Live to please come to SPH Nityananda channel and do share from your experience. If you look back into your life, what are we running behind? What do we think? What do we give the highest position, saying, okay, this is the greatest. If I have this, I will have everything else in life. So what are we feeling like that in our life inside of us? Please do come and share. Career is a good relationship. What is that we are running behind in our life? Please come to YouTube and go ahead and share your experiences while we continue to move on to the other segments. Now, just wanted to also take a moment to explain why each of you are answering here. Okay, so we have Devika Rani from Malaysia. She has said, I used to go behind knowledge and spirituality. I used to think having education is important in life. So beautifully shared, Devika. So many of us feel if I have the right knowledge, if I have the right education, I will be able to excel in life. Well, education is not bad at all. Intellect is not wrong. Yes, as you are saying, it is not the right context. See, education is not bad because all of us should get educated. We should have the right knowledge. But we need to understand the ultimate knowledge is the knowledge of the inner world. The ultimate knowledge is the knowledge of yourself. The ultimate knowledge of enlightenment. When we are grounded in the completion, when we are grounded in the knowledge of ourself, then you can go behind any other knowledge out in the outer world. It will not distract you from the true purpose of your life. It will not is ultimate, and that knowledge never surrenders. That intellect will not have the attribute of surrender. It'll always think it knows more than anybody else. That aspect of intellect more than anything else. I know more than anybody else. That is the removing the arrogance which comes along with your intellect. Oh, I know more than anybody else. I know it. I don't need to learn from you. I know much more than you. I know much more than this person. That attribute of that intellect. Wealth, at least, see, when you have wealth, you will feel like, I can do everything. But suddenly when the wealth goes off, you have no other choice. Your foundation is collapsed. At that time, at least you will surrender. But the intellects will never have that surrender, because what is it? Every time you will feel, even if you don't know, you will still feel, I know and I am superior than others, or I know more than others, I have much more knowledge than others. So intellect never surrenders, never agrees that it doesn't know the ultimate. Even though it knows, it will not agree that it doesn't know. So yes, Devikama, beautifully you have answered. Practicing and embracing the lifestyle Bhagavan is offering daily is the most valuable, and that's the right knowledge that will awaken the ultimate wisdom in us. So beautifully explained. Yes. And we have YouTube, one of our participants asking, when can I join Kailasa? You can join Kailasa right away. And you can, all you have to go to do 90s Kids. I know what's your exact name, but you can go to the Kailasa website. You can go to kailasa.org/free-e-passport to join Kailasa and avail the free passport. And we have begun Chapagain saying, I was also used to believe that having a degree of electrical engineering, everyone will respect me. And you said you fooled yourself by thinking that the respect doesn't come from outside. The respect comes when we have respect for ourselves. So BNG, you really need to look in and identify where you feel the self-doubt or self-hatred inside of you. When you complete that, you will realize nobody can give respect or disrespect you. You are beyond all of that. And really, if you attend the where we will stop looking for respect from outside, you will start respecting yourself. That is the ultimate respect. Yes, Manoj, Nityanandam, namaste. And Eva Anderson, thank you so much for your kind support and contribution to Kailasa. So thank you everyone. And if you have any more questions or insights on this aspect, this is the ultimate aspect that today Parameshiva is leading us through and giving us that experience that neither intellect nor the wealth is the ultimate for us. Yes, they are utility values in life. You can use them as utilities. Not that the intellect is not bad, wealth is not bad. But when you think that intellect alone is enough, wealth alone is enough, that is the highest and greatest, and you start worshipping something which is not the ultimate, that is when life teaches you and makes you realize. So the whole happening of Lingodbhava is the ultimate compassion of Paramashiva when he makes us realize that neither intellect or wealth is ultimate. Enlightenment is the ultimate. So that is the very happening of Arunachala, and that very same happening is going to reoccur today in the very auspicious time of Pradosham. So that is why today the program timings are a little different, because the darshan of Bhagavan Lingodbhava is going to happen during the Pradosham time today. So that is why we have altered our timing so that the very auspicious darshan can happen. So it's going to happen at around 5 o'clock. We'll be letting all of you know. So yeah, we have Edison responding on the YouTube chat saying the ultimate is bhakti, because only gods can give you that, not a diploma nor wealth. Neither your education can give you the bhakti, nor the wealth can. You can buy bhakti with wealth. That's ultimately true. So wonderful. Edison, thank you so much for your comment. Okay, so the next segment that we are going to go is the very happening of Paramashiva, who happened as Lingodbhava. That was the very, very, very first incarnation, or I should say, incarnation of the formless consciousness in a formless form. The Lingodbhava happening, the very light shaft of Paramashiva, the fire column, the column of fire that Paramashiva appeared, was the first appearance of the superconsciousness in the pure superconsciousness appear formless form. The superconsciousness by itself doesn't have any form. That superconsciousness appearing in a formless form is what is Lingodbhava. Now we are going to share with you the scriptural reference, the Shastra Pramana of how Bhagavan Paramashiva, when he appeared as Lingodbhava, he gave a threefold promise to humanity. And what are the scriptural references and what exact promise that Paramashiva gave to humanity is what we are going to see in the next segment. Yes. Now, the living incarnation of Paramashiva. Paramashiva lineage represents the tradition of gurus or enlightened masters in Tiruvannamalai, also called Arunachala. Starting from Paramashiva himself, the lineage of Paramashiva prevails to fulfill the Paramashiva's promise to humanity, an eternal guiding force through an unbroken lineage of enlightened masters, gurus, hailing from Tiruvannamalai to sustain the ecosystem, the enlightenment ecosystem. So let us promise to humanity. Now, Paramashiva appears as an infinite of light. The Arunachala Purana, the epic history of Arunachala, reveals that at that point in time, Paramashiva made a promise that he will always be available in Arunachala in three forms. As the hill Arunachala, as the Jyotirlingam, as the Arunachaleshwara deity in the temple, in the form of the living incarnation in the holy town of Tiruvannamalai. So Paramashiva says, I will always be available in Tiruvannamalai in three forms. As the deity, the very hill Arunachala, as the deity, and ultimately as the living incarnation. So in three forms in Tiruvannamalai, constantly Paramashiva says, I will always be available. The Lingodbhava, the column of light, that fire shaft that appeared, settled down as the hill. So the very appearance of Lingodbhava, who appeared without the beginning and an end, an unending column of fire, that unending column of fire settled down as Arunachala, settled down as the hill Arunachala. So now the references from the Hindu scriptures where Paramashiva has given this threefold promise to humanity. The Kshetra of Tiruvannamalai is the very place on earth where Paramashiva declared as his home thousands of years ago in three divine forms. The sacred hill Arunachala, the Linga Arunachaleshwara, and in the form of the incarnation of Paramashiva, who lands time and again in the human body. In the fourth form, which was not declared by Paramashiva and yet still seamlessly manifested, he lives as Shiva Shayaha, as Shiva who resides in the heart wall. So Paramashiva appears in three forms, which is as the hill, as the deity in the temple, and as the living incarnation, as a guru. That is an unbroken lineage of enlightened masters, and also in the fourth form, which is in the hearts of each and every one of us. So here you can see the beautiful picture, the sacred, just go back one slide now. So the sacred hill Arunachala. So that is the hill that you actually see, the hill. That hill is called Arunachala. This is in the holy town of Tiruvannamalai, where Swamiji was born and brought up. This hill is fire. When it settled down as Arunachala. So this hill is not just a regular hill. This hill is the very manifestation of Paramashiva. That very hill is worshipped as Paramashiva. Fire is lit on the hill. This hill, it is a living entity. It's a living as the deity, as living as a living incarnation guru. That hill talks to you, responds to you. You can literally feel the hill. The minute you enter Tiruvannamalai, you will just feel the presence of the hill. That hill, people actually circumambulate the hill, they worship the hill. The hill is worshipped in Tiruvannamalai as Paramashiva himself. Next is the deity in the Tiruvannamalai temple, which is the Arunachaleshwara deity, which is the second picture that you see, is the deity in the Tiruvannamalai temple where Swamiji was born and brought up. Lineage of enlightened masters in Tiruvannamalai. In that unbroken lineage, Swamiji is the current incarnation in that lineage. Okay, so next we are going to see in the and in the Skanda Purana, what are the references to the happening of Paramashiva in the form of a hill, number 2 in the form of a deity, and in the form of a living incarnation. So this is a direct reference from Skanda Purana, where the reference is, oh Brahma and Vishnu. This is Paramashiva himself revealing. He says, oh Brahma and Vishnu, since I have graced both of you and given wounds to both of you in the sacred energy field, let the land for a radius of 3 yojanas. 1 yojana is about 7 miles approximately. So 21 miles, a radius of 21 miles. So from the hill, a radius of 21 miles, whole circle around the hill, the radius of 21 miles is sacred energy field. And let that energy field be pure and sacred. Let this hill of red fire, Lingodbhava, which settled down as the hill, let that hill of red fire turn into a small form of a hill. This sacred energy field bestows liberation with supreme bliss. Ninaital Mukti Taram Arunachala. Just very remembrance of Arunachala liberates. Without any hindrance will be called as Arunapuri. So here we have a direct reference in Skanda Purana, which says that the column of fire, that column of red fire, that hill of red fire settled down as a small hill, Arunachala.
Yes. So the same reference from the Skanda Purana, it says, the Devas and the Devendra who were in suffering remembered me. I removed their suffering. Hence, I will remove the suffering of birth of whoever remembers this sthala, the sacred energy field. So this hill and this sacred energy field will have the features of not getting destroyed even during the time of pralaya, deluge. So it will lead all the moving and unmoving beings that are there within the periphery of the wind that has touched this hill to liberation.
Next, we are going to see how the very hill which manifested the column of fire, Lingodbhava happening, manifesting as a hill, also became a deity in Tiruvannamalai. Next slide. Now, the devotees are requesting Paramashiva to also as against the rain that showers from the sky, to offering pearl garlands to you as against the star themselves to be pearl garlands. And showing lamps to you as against the sun's rays themselves to be a lamp. Hence, for the sake for their sake, doing worship to him with sacred bath, they prayed that he graces them by assuming the form of a linga below the hill. Because the devotees see the hill is so huge. So how do you worship the hill? Right? You want to touch and give a abhishekam, you want to offer flowers, you want to offer garlands, you want to do dupa, deepa, but the hill is so huge. So they are requesting Paramashiva, please, you appear in the form of a hill. Can you also appear in the form of a deity so we can worship you, we can connect with you, we can relate with you, we can do all the rituals to you. So then Paramashiva blesses and also appears in the form of a deity.
Yes. The same reference where it says, Arun is a medicine to remove birth and death. This hill is so since this hill is red in color, this hill is called Arunagiri. So when Shiva, the blue to those who utter this name once in this planet Earth, to them it equal to uttering the Panchakshara 30 million times. Panchakshara is a Namah mantra. So Brahma and Vishnu, they became happy and bowed down to the Lord and said, I am becoming Linga. Worship me with bhakti. So saying so, he disappeared into the hill, and there appeared a linga that is adorable by the whole world. And they saw that linga and worshipped it, sang in praise of it, showered flowers on it, became ecstatic, happy, and danced in bliss, and called the divine sculptor called Mayan, and made him construct the temple tower, halls, and beautiful compound walls that cannot be compared with literally anything.
Now, in the very town of holy town of Tiruvannamalai, right? This is true, especially amongst the town people of Tiruvannamalai, for whom Arunachala is the Antaryami, their most supreme Lord, making it possible for Paramashiva to appear again and again as one among them. Adhering to his most compassionate boon for humanity, Paramashiva himself comes down to planet Earth and Lord Vishnu and Brahma in creating the enlightened civilization of Tiruvannamalai.
So since then, Tiruvannamalai has been serving not just as a beacon for the human beings who seek the most supreme truth, but as a cosmic light which allows for other worldly beings to the 14 planes of existence, and Paramashiva himself in the primordial form as Lingodbhava. So since the time of Paramashiva appeared in the form of this effulgent column, the place has been witness to all the different yugas and the slow degradation of the original dharma set forth by Paramashiva.
In Kali Yuga, it is said that the mortal beings become dull-witted, unlucky, voracious, destitute of wealth, wanton and unchaste. Countries will be ravaged by robbers and miscreants. The Vedas will be condemned by the heretics. Subjects. Rulers will be man-eaters and dwellers will be given to the gratification of their sexual desires and other appetites.
Yes. So as Paramashiva promises to his beloved friend and disciple in the Bhagavad Gita, he incarnated on planet Earth as Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So this is the verse from the Bhagavad Gita which says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham. So whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in the unrighteousness, O Arjuna, at that time I manifest myself on earth.
Being cognizant of the fear caused by the asuras who were rampaging the planet Earth, Paramashiva decided it was time for Paramashiva to come down and protect those who love him. It was thus how Paramashiva, the one Nishkala, who is formless as Lingodbhava, descended as the 1008th incarnation into planet Earth and assumed the form as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashiva.
Yes. So the Arunachala Mahatmyam, it actually speaks about the happening of Lingodbhava, the chapter 1, 55th verse, where the Arunachala is described as Tejastamba Sthula Lingabham Shaivam Teja Surarchitam, means the shaft of effulgence, the Tejastambam, which manifested such that perceived as a linga, and this effulgence of Paramashiva is worshipped by all the gods, Surarchitam.
The very happening of the supreme pontiff of Hinduism as Lingodbhava. Ityevam nishkalam proktram param bhavamiti smritam shrishtistam lokarakshartham lokas yotpatti karanam sadhakanam hitartham tu swechaya grihnate thanuhu. Sadhakanam hitartham tu swechaya grihnate thanuhu. So in this way, Paramashiva, who is Nishkala, without any body and parts, who is the ultimate supreme being, who is established in the creation, who is the cause of the, assumes a body out of his free will for the protection of the universe and for the welfare of the spiritual seekers and devotees.
So Lingodbhava, the advent of time. So Kartika Deepam is the time, the day, when Paramashiva stood as the infinite light shaft to Shivaratri. The Brahma and Vishnu were searching for the 4 yugas. So on the Shivaratri day, they come back and surrender and declare their inability, and it is on this day Paramashiva blesses and liberates Vishnu and punishes and liberates Brahma. So Kartika Deepam is the celebration in memory of this big bang.
As per the Vedic calendar, the day of the Kartika Deepam is the first day. The constellation is the oldest constellation. They are able to push their intelligence. Beyond this, they are not able to push. Their calculation method is failing. So in a way, a concept of time, the Big Bang happened on the day of Kartika Deepam. The concept of time did not exist before the day Paramashiva manifested as Lingodbhava. That is why Kartika festival. Because in the Vedic, as per the Vedic astrology, beyond the day of Lingodbhava, the superconscious formless form of Lingodbhava, beyond that date when that happens or the calendar, the calculations are not matching. So only on that day, from where Paramashiva manifested in the formless form of a huge column of fire called Lingodbhava, only from that manifestation, the Vedic astrology began calendar.
So the consciousness, when it stood at time, matter, everything, and that is why the Vedic relation, the stars set up only till the day of Kartika Deepam.
Now the sun that we know is junior to Lingodbhava, the infinite shaft of light of Arunachala, the Big Bang. After sun, which was born 20 galactic years back, Earth cooled to support life, and this happened 17 galactic years back. And that is when the Ananda Gandha, the core of the Big Bang, cooled and appeared as Arunachala on the planet Earth, which we are in.
Once more, I had entered the womb of my mother. The reflection on the planet Earth happened, and it was conscious birth. So this is how the Supreme Pontiff explains how he landed on this planet Earth consciously.
Just of Nitya Yoga, the happening of the Supreme Pontiff, has promised when there was a big chaos, the stagnance in the cosmos due to Brahma and Vishnu delusion, Paramashiva descended on the planet Earth, caused the Big Bang as